You've probably seen countless Deltarune theories, whether good or not so good. I've gone over at least about 20 myself, but instead of actually looking at thought-provoking, well-crafted theories, I'm finding the absolute worst theories the fandom has to offer. No diamonds here, just straight coal. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more, comment your own terrible theories, and rate the video 10 Togors out of 10. First off, Chris's pregnant theory, or mitosis theory. Since all humans in Undertale and Deltarune are non-binary, they cannot reproduce due to a lack of pronouns. So, humans reproduce through mitosis, resulting in humans that all look very similar. Ignore the fact that this one is from a fan game, but you know what? They count too. Anyway, in mitosis, the cells get bigger before they split. So Chris being way taller means that they are about to split into two tiny Undertale-sized humans. I guess they had a friend inside them after all. Next up, feet theory. So if you're like me and spend hours of your day looking at your character's feet, you'll notice that none of the Holiday family wear shoes. They're just hooves. But Des has a massive pile of shoes in her closet. Why? If they're all going barefoot, dogs out, piggies in the wind all the time, why would any of them own any kind of footwear, especially to this extent with this much shoeage? And even though Des has shoes in her room that are fit for hooves, why does she have a gigantic pile in her closet? Noelle says that she doesn't wear shoes unless they are custom made, and the shoes in Des's closet all look like normal shoes for a human or humanoid-like monster, one that has feet. And the only time we've seen Des is in the cutscene of Tenna trauma dumping. In it, you can see two antlered people sitting in the front, but what if one of them was wearing a headband? Yeah, remember when Toriel was talking about Chris wearing a headband to fit with the family? What if she's also a human and that's what all those shoes are for? For her feet, her human feet! So either feet theory is true or Des is a kleptomaniac and is amassing a horde of Jordans to combine into one giant mecha-Jord. What the fuck are we talking about? Oh yeah, Des's feet. So anyway, number 3, Chris Goons theory. You know what? I'll just let the Redditor explain. I actually have a theory that Azrael wasn't the one reading the How to Draw Dragons book. The evidence pointing to him doing it is just that he rented it from the library. People also assume he searched for purple dragons based on Suzie's reaction to his search history, but that also works on the assumption he read that book. However, one of the Chapter 3 quizzes asks you for Azrael's favorite Super Smashing Fighters character, and one of the wrong options is the purple dragon. And here I was thinking, wait, isn't Azrael really into them? That's when it hit me. Azrael was old enough to rent a book like that. Chris wasn't. Azrael never was into purple dragons. Des is more his type. This would explain why Chris slams the drawer so quick when Suzie spots the book. They weren't embarrassed about Azzy's behavior, but rather their own. As for Suzie seeing Azrael's search history, it could have been something else entirely that Suzie saw. Would also explain why Chris didn't mind being bullied by Suzie. She's their type. And finally, it explains why the book was never returned. It's still in use. In conclusion, Chris Goons, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. In fact, I can even add on to this. The internet is down across town, resulting in the Queen going crazy in Chapter 2, and presumably, it hasn't been fixed yet because it hasn't even been 48 hours in universe time. So, having no material, they had to use all reliable, but due to reproducing through mitosis, Chris created the 7 human goons that come back in Chapter 7 to take you down for cranking the library books. Number 4, ass-kicking theory. So in Chapter 1, we can visit Noelle and Rudy in the hospital where Rudy talks about kicking Birdley's ass, which happens the next day. Then in Chapter 2, he threatens Suzie by saying he'll kick her ass if she hurts Noelle, and then she gets her ass fucking obliterated by the knights the next day. And in Chapter 4, he says he'll kick the store owner's bony little ass and turn him into a xylophone. So if he hints at people getting their asses kicked, they happen. Maybe we'll have to fight the weakest enemy again and pray to God our muscle memory is still intact. Number 5, blind theory. Every main boss of Deltarune doesn't have eyes or keeps them hidden for the majority of their appearances. The king doesn't have eyes, the queen doesn't have them except for this sprite, Tenna doesn't ever have eyes, and the knight doesn't have eyes except for them doing this weird screamy thing to Aura Farm. But way back in the beginning of chapter 1, there was a sign that read, "In this land, only eyes blinded by darkness can see the way." A complete throwaway line that was meant to hint at how to solve a nothing burger puzzle, but it could imply that all the big bads will have their eyes hidden. And for the most part, they have. You know who keeps their eyes hidden? Chris. Oh my god, the people saying Chris has been evil since like chapter 1 are frothing at the mouth. Number 6, Rose is a girl. Honestly, I don't even have to say anything. Here's a pile of pronouns where people call Rose he. I mean, hell, Lancer calls Rose toothpaste boy within the first like hour of the game, so I don't see how he can mess this up. Number 7, Toby is actually fucking stupid. I mean, Tenna, you're asking where the audience went. They're right there, bro. Look, they're crowd surfing down here and you're asking where they went. Oh, and this part where it says Chris kneeled in silence even though they're hitting the Golden Freddy, and you know, they're not kneeling. Does Toby Fox is stupid? What the fuck, Tony? Number 8, lesbian reincarnation theory. W.D. Gaster got shredded across time and space, and he got reincarnated as an awkward lesbian teenage deer girl. So Carol might have to get that looked at, but there's worse fates. Look at what Sans got reincarnated as. Number 9, homophobic Carol. This comes from Carol coming home, seeing Noelle hanging out with a girl, then yelling at Suzie to get the fuck out and never talk to her daughter again, while she's perfectly cordial with Asgore and Chris, who are not girls. And you get a phone call at the end of Weird Route where Carol is happy you're taking Noelle to the festival. So yeah, Carol's homophobic, case closed. In all seriousness, I doubt this is true, but it's really funny for her to say she is in bright red glowing letters. Number 10, bone theory. So you remember this part at the end of chapter 4? You know, when Sans and Toriel are in the other room with rim shots over and over again while Chris is trying to avoid hearing it? Yeah, so the theory is that was actually Sans doing some boning, giving a good rim shot, shooting a hot load of comedy all over the place. And as a result, we interrupt them boning, fighting them for 20-something turns while your mom watches, and then we turn him into red mist. Number 11, bad writing theory. I'll just let them explain it. My Deltarune theory is that it takes place in an Undertale universe corrupted by worse writing and overly self-indulgent humor, which often comes at the expense of immersion. Yeah, you're getting a snow grave for that one, buddy. Say hi to Birdly for me. Number 12, oh my god. I can't even read this. Okay, straight from the Reddit comments. It turns out Des isn't the villain because she is bringing the apocalypse event. It is because she crit. Why do people make these fucking theories? One of the only hard canon pieces of information we have about December is the fact that she'd make her grade school neighbor watch Gators Gone Wild with her. Holy shit, that is a theory. But it does make sense. Tenna says that it has alligators in bikinis, so Des was getting Chris to Goon early. Wait, if you talk to Birdly, he says your rental of How to Draw Dragons is 2,583 days late, making it like 6 or 7 years late. Oh my god, not only was Des showing Chris gators in bikinis, but Asriel was showing Chris how to draw dragon girls. No wonder they ripped their heart out to get control. They were actually scaly gooning this whole time and we never knew. And as a result of gooning, Chris was able to make multiple clones of themselves through mitosis. Number 13, Suzie is racist. So when Suzie catches Caddy drinking her milk, she calls Caddy a furry degenerate, a word I only ever hear in the context of board users being racist. In fact, it was so extreme, Toby had to remove it and replace it with furry freak instead. But it does kind of make sense because Caddy is, well, a cat, and Suzie is like a dinosaur lizard thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if Suzie got so mad she dropped the Deltarune equivalent of a gamer word. Number 14, cousin theory. Noelle has a sister who is missing, but we never saw Noelle's secret cousin, Rory Knight. Number 15, Curdley Theory. The ship between Chris and Birdly. For one, Birdly and Chris both like video games and have been said to be gaming rivals in the Undertale anniversary stream. Birdly even accuses you of wave dashing in games, and Chris used to grief their Minecraft world. The main meat of their relationship comes from the player's actions. happens. Through the game, there are numerous instances where the player can force Chris to be nice to Birdly. Chris can give Birdly a present of a plushie of him with nipples, something he thanks you for, and he even joins your party for one singular room. In Chapter 3, Ros asks you who you'll take to the festival, and you can answer Birdly for no reason, which you loudly repeat to yourself, most likely out of pure confusion at that random ass answer. But in Chapter 4, Birdly calls Noelle to rizz her up, but Suzie cucks him, throwing the phone away. You can answer the phone and ask Birdly to go to the festival with you, so you can effectively force Chris to pseudo-date Birdly, something they are probably not cool with, but hey, this is what you get for cheating in Smash Bros and blowing up Birdly's Minecraft house, you little fuck. And that's gonna do it for the worst Deltarune theories I could find. Thank you all for getting this far. Special thank you to my patrons Chris Griffin and Lance Rockhard. You'll get early access to vids in a booster-only channel in my Discord. Like and subscribe to support me for free and to see more. Comment your own terrible theories. Join the Discord if you want to talk with the community. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys later.